most of the challenger teams play for the last right now. They want to have this dream come true, and they put in hard work, put in hours, maybe more so than the LCS teams because they are quite confident, maybe in the comfort zone where they shouldn't be, because the challenger teams can really upset them, especially with new picks, different playstyles, and being prepared comes in handy.
Welcome back, everyone. The series is now tied up 1-1, and we're on to game number 3 between the Copenhagen Wolves and DNL. Let's have a little bit of a look back to game number 2. Amazing lived up to his name in this second game. Went 8-0-3 by the end of Kazakhs, and well, the 8-0-3 slightly inflated by the cleanup nature of Kazakhs by the end.
Of course, I mean, whenever someone got low in a team fight, he was there full HP. We saw it in the fight where Twitch instantly killed both Forgiven and cowTard, of course, but then full HP Amazing was left, cleaned up everything, got a lot of kills. He was the guy, though, who jumped over, killed Babunia before they went for the Dragon here, which actually was a big thing for Copenhagen Wolves. Get him a lot of easy objective gold, which actually was a big thing for them in the game. Getting the Dragons early on here, getting the lead, because both cowTard and the bottom lane did so well in their matchups.
Well, guys, it's time to turn to Twitter once again and let us know who you think has the edge in this tied-up series. All you have to do, tweet to us, #CWWin or DNLWin to @LOLesports, and we'll check in with the numbers for your in-game predictions. Of course, it swung completely from the LOLesports.com vote to the game number 2 vote, or to the game number 2 vote when he was 1-for-0 for DNL. I'm wondering if we're going to see a similar backpedal by you guys out there and back to the Copenhagen Wolves.
Very high chance, at least. I mean, DNL won one game. Suddenly they were the favorites. Now Copenhagen Wolves won. Very strong performance. Going into this game, I don't think there is a favorite, to be honest. I think both teams have shown they have different play styles. And it worked for DNL in game 1. Worked now for Copenhagen Wolves in game 2. Also because DNL, the rotations they had in game 1, they didn't actually do the same here in game 2.
No, didn't really have a chance to get that going either. We're going to find out if anything changes here in Champion Select, though, as the bans come in. First one is Nidalee, a ban which the Copenhagen Wolves are sticking by. They've banned that now in the last 13 or 14 games in a row. So
a lot of games.
Basically, they don't let Nidalee go through, that's for sure.
Do not like to play against Nidalee. Again, I expect to be banned and win every single game here by him. Because again, Nick is a very strong Nidalee player. Now next ban coming in is going to be the Ziggs actually. cowTard was very strong on it in this game. Nick was very strong on it in game 1. So both the mid laners like him, and now DNL actually just banning it away. Don't want to risk possibly a first pick by Copenhagen Wolves.
Dr. Mundo taken away from Babunia again. We saw in game number 1. And I think it's always the same. You never see a particularly... Nothing special happens from a Dr. Mundo player. They are just, by the end, so tanky that you can't do anything about them. It's not like there's any big flashy Mundo plays usually, but they're always going to be a problem if they get rolling. Lucian also banned away here. One thing we should mention, in game 1 and 2, we saw 2 support bans from DNL aimed at Unlimited. That means that one's going to be left open this time around.
So I think DNL realized Unlimited on Annie did actually the same thing he would do on Leona here. Flashing in, getting the stun. We saw him do it against both Twitch and Lulu here, and that's where Annie is a very good pick against something like Twitch, because you're very mobile, you can flash tables, it's instant stun, and that's why they're not banning away the same amount of supports, because they realize he can just pick up the Annie, and it worked really well for him.
Final ban for Copenhagen Wolves is Rise. They did that in game number 2, and Jax taken away this time by DNL. They did that in game 1 before getting Jax as a first pick in game number 2. Again, it leaves Kazakhs open, and again, that's going to be in the first round of picks for the Copenhagen Wolves. Amazing. 2 games on Kazakhs. 1 not so impressive. 1 he ended up nicely after game number 2. We'll see how that one goes. As I mentioned, Karma left open. DNL thinking about taking it.
Thinking about getting the Karma here, of course. Can both be played in the mid lane, could also be played as support. She's very strong in both. A lot of good poke here from Karma, very strong laning phase, no matter where she goes. Same actually goes for Lulu. Strong laning phase, also both as a support and as a mid laner, so locking in both. We don't actually know who's gonna go where yet. We've obviously seen Bjergsen over playing Karma in the mid lane. Not sure why he's now Korea. Bjergsen playing the Karma in the playoffs here for TSM, and it worked pretty well for him. He got the pentakill as well.
Yeah, pentakill for Karma. We'll see if those get switched around. We've also seen let's not forget Lulu top. Hell, we've even seen Karma in the top lane.
Yeah,
so although only a couple of times and wasn't really all that amazing. Not expecting that to go in the top lane, that's for sure. Let's see what the Copenhagen Wolves go for this time around. Lucian banned away. Forgiven's been going back onto this Graves. Looks like he's going to do it again.
So the Graves pick worked okay for him in the last game. He managed to do his damage, but he actually died very early in all the team fights we had, where his flash was ready, he didn't use it in time, he actually ended up dying for it. Of course, got some return damage before he went down, but the pick itself has not impressed me yet. I think it's an okay pick, but I'm not saying here that I think the Graves is the best AD carry for Forgiven to play. Still being locked in for him. Twisted Fate now for cowTard was actually banned away in the very first game as the first ban here from Denial. Get through this time, and no, actually it was Copenhagen also banned it in the very first game against Denial. cowTard though picks it up. It's been a very strong champion here in 4.5 because again you are so versatile, you have so many options, you can go different summoner spells, you can both split push, you can wave clear, and also your late game power is still very good.
What are we gonna see out of Woolite? If you look back at his challenger games, played a lot of Lucian that's banned away, Sivir and Twitch that he played in that last game. However, Kog'Maw, definitely an option. We saw Watch playing Kog'Maw today, not Watch,
Space.
Kog'Maw, Space playing Kog'Maw. There's a lot of discussion of how strong Kog'Maw is and whether he is really that strong. Might not even have to really touch on that one here because he's gone back over to Jinx and a possible Nocturne in the jungle for Kikis.
So like Nocturne here is a very strong jungler in 4.5 with the Fell Flare. You can also go into Blade of the Rune King afterwards, and we saw Cotnex yesterday on this champion. He was so dominant. NIP could never kill him in the team fights. As long as he got a good start in the game, he just became so strong. Of course, Denial is looking to do the same. You have Nocturne going in, you have the Peel, you have the Kite from both Lulu and Karma here to help out the Jinx or even to help out Nocturne. So far, Denial here, they can really start some fights. A lot of mobility around, so if Copenhagen Wolves are out of position, Denial can instantly go towards them, set it up, and it's going to be hard for Copenhagen Wolves then to respond.
Limited will be feeling now a little bit of pressure relief as he wasn't banned out of this game and he gets his hands on Leona. Doesn't have to think about where to go as a second option. They also took Trundle, a champion which we've seen so much of, and also a champion which of course YoungBuck has shown his skill and comfort on in that top lane.
And Copenhagen Wolves is probably the team who rely the most on Unlimited to play engaged supports. Like every single time he gets on Annie, Leona, something where he can start a fight, he's the guy setting everything up. Whenever he's playing Karma, whenever he's playing something else, you actually often see Copenhagen Wolves running around doing nothing because nobody's there to start it. He gets the Leona this time, was banned away in the other games. Trundle in the top lane. Overall, just a very strong pick. His landing phase is fine, scales well into the late game, and of course he can set up ganks easily with a Twisted Fate, put up the pillar, Twisted Fate ports in, easy stun for him, and a good amount of CC.
So, final pick was Lee Sin, and we are going to be seeing into the top lane by the looks of things. Nick obviously taking that Lulu for the mid lane and Karma going down into the support role. So lane Sin for Babunia.
So damage wise here for Denial going into late game, they really rely on Woolite being very farmed and also on Kikis being very farmed because Lee Sin as a champion falls off damage wise. He becomes more of a tank going into late game. Also the top lane is in. Very strong early on, very strong in the mid game. So, but going in late game, Denial might be in a position where they're going to lack some damage. Over on the side of Copenhagen Wolves, Twisted Fate is good in the late game, of course. We have Amazing. We saw him before build Last Whisper on Kha'Zix. Very strong in the late game. Trundle, of course, is a good champion. Graves won't have the same amount of damage as a Jinx late game, but his mid game power is very strong.
So, interesting switch of things. We obviously saw Cotnex playing fantastic Nocturne yesterday, and if Kikis manages to hit that kind of level here, then we're in for a bit of a treat. And, this is an all-important game when you look at a best-of-5. Moving on to game point is so important here because it means that the team that loses this next match has to win then 2 games in a row. And if these close best-of-5s are anything to go by, they just go back and forth, and 2 games in a row is hard to pull off.
And we also need to see Kikis here on Nocturne. If he can set something up with his ultimate without cowTard being able to join in, of course, everything is going to be dark here. It's very hard for cowTard to do anything then, otherwise you want to blind teleport somewhere, and it's obviously not the ideal thing. So it means Kikis can set up a gank, get something from it the first few seconds before cowTard can even join in. That could be a big deal here for Denial.
Well, we are going to be moving then into game number 3. The scoreline, of course, tied at 1-1 between the Copenhagen Wolves and DNL. Still 2 games to move through, win this best of 5, and have your spot sealed in the summer split of the European LCS. Let's talk about level 1, because we've actually seen some funky moves. In particular, DNL in the last game actually got themselves all the way through the Copenhagen Wolves jungle. There is the voting as well, and as I exactly thought it would do, it swung all the way back. 69% for the Copenhagen Wolves. Look at this. We could be in for a big level 1 play. Here we go. Sun's going to go out. cowTard has a flash away already. Is the first blood going to come in? Kikis is super low. Everyone's low on the Wolves' side. Are we going to see more flashes? It will be amazing that flashes away. Have we got flashes to go in? Woolite's got a flash available as well. But the men that are lower at the front of things, and in the end, someone has burn across the table. No kills though for a crazy level 1.
Such a scary level 1. cowTard was the first guy to run in here. He was the target for DNL. Had to flash away instantly, and everyone just dropped so low here. DNL though did more damage in the level 1 and actually forced Copenhagen Wolves to back, so they can get some wards now in this area. And you see again the same ward here for Karma or for Super Ace early on, so they can try and spot the lane swap, and Copenhagen Wolves again ping it out instantly. Let's see what they do. Last time DNL delayed their lane swap until they spotted Copenhagen Wolves. Then they moved all the way to the other side of the map. Could be doing the same here.
Wolves are scared at this point.
Wouldn't you be?
Well, no, I'd probably walk straight out and face check into all 5 of them, but don't think the Wolves are going to quite pull that move off. Either way, even if they did do that, there's nothing to really face check at this point, because DNL have got their 3 deep wards down, and they've backed away onto their top side of the jungle. Going to be taking the red buff for the start. One thing that's worth noting is there's no wards from either team towards the blue buff areas of the map, so we might actually see for once a start where red and blue on either side of the map is taken by the same team.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Joe. It looks like Kikis is moving towards the blue buff because they know the bottom lane from Copenhagen Wolves is down in the bottom side, so he can move there with Karma. Of course, we're going to see the exact same thing from Amazing, just trading the buffs here. YoungBuck is still around this bottom lane. He could join in with the rest of the team so they can do the 4-man push we saw in game 1, where DNL instantly recalled, didn't even try and push the tower up top, they just recalled to go back and defend.
Mid lane, cowTard already taking big damage there from Nick. Nick hitting level 2 before him, gives him that extra power. cowTard, of course, skilling the pick card and the wild cards here, but struggling to fight up against Nick in the early levels, having to already burn through his potions. Both of them going for that door and ring start. We are looking like we're going to be seeing early fast pushing onto the towers. Lee Sin in the top lane, along with Kikis on Nocturne. They're going to, I think, group as a 4, and we're going to see at least 3 men down in the bottom lane. I think Amazing will join in with that as well and have a 4-man push on both sides of the map.
So both teams doing the same here. Could just end up trading tower for tower, or 2 towers even. Bottom lane should go down slightly faster, but DNL actually came to that tower faster than the Copenhagen Wolves. So even for now, Super Ace though recalling, it's always the support going back for them when they want to go back to defend. Of course, with Karma, he got a decent wave here. Looks like DNL though are happy just getting 1 tower. Copenhagen Wolves gonna get 1 tower as well. Let's see if they continue to push.
Very possibly. See though, 2 men coming in to that bottom lane. Babunia and Woolite still having to go at that outer turret in the top lane, which has taken them a little bit longer to actually get finished off. The Copenhagen Wolves, I think, seeing now that both Kikis and Super Ace had moved into that lane and start to back away. Meanwhile, this top turret not going down just yet, but I think once that next wave comes in, it will. Although, YoungBuck teleporting into that
only level 1. Only level 1. Woolite should be able to take the tower and just ignore YoungBuck. Won't be able to do too much. Just a pillar in his face. If you auto attacks Woolite. Nope, didn't actually get the tower yet. Took a tower as well because he hit YoungBuck.
This is
scary.
Potentially dangerous for him. And, well, we should not forget the get excited there as he just kind of runs around in circles, puts some more damage back onto YoungBuck. And that will be 1-for-1 tied in towers. Wolves, a bit of extra farm, are slightly ahead though in gold. Very slightly though.
Actually dead even now. cowTard though in the mid lane decided to go for heal. Normally you see Ghost and Flash actually as the 2 summons for Twisted Fate. Decided to take the heal though, so want to be more safe both in the laning phase against Lulu, who of course is a lane bully, and at the same time for the team fight, double heal is never bad. But Ghost on TF is normally where you get so much extra mobility and your ganks become so strong. You can just continue to chase up if there's no tower, for instance, which is the case now in the bottom lane for DNL. If you want to gank bottom lane, could be using the Ghost. Babunia went very low from this one.
It's like, it's alright guys, I got it. I'm not going to die to anything in the jungle. It's happened before, but not today. There's Unlimited actually moving towards this mid lane. Needs to be a bit careful there with Nick and Super. There's a lot of poke damage between those two.
So again, they leave Woolite by himself to farm. They want to get him ahead in when it comes to both levels and also gold. And in the center, Mid Lane's completely missed the minion. However, though, they send Super Ace into mid lane again, so they're rotating him around the map, trying to apply some pressure. Kikis coming in here. He's going to spot out Forgiven very soon.
Sees them going through that ward, actually forcing Unlimited to back away, and they managed to kill off that ward as well before it can go into stealth. And now they're going to push down on towards this turret. Only Forgiven there. Unlimited is going to have to walk the entire way around the jungle to get involved on this. That turret already down to half HP.
They're doing the exact same thing they did in game 1, where it was Soraka support. Whenever there's lack of wave clear for Copenhagen Wolves bottom lane, they just send the jungler down here, get a lot of damage onto the tower. He can go back now, do one camp maybe, and then come back to the lane and do the same thing. He did it with Elise. He just kept going back to the bottom lane to get the tower. Amazing, he's all the way up in this top lane here. Babunia needs to be careful.
This could be bad news. He's already safeguarded away actually onto the minion. Flash comes in. They managed to get the slow down onto him. Babunia going very low. Can they get the kill? The no flash, as I said, for him. Both Amazing and YoungBuck have used theirs as well. First blood coming in. Meanwhile, cowTard using Destiny to go down the bottom, but actually they turn a lot of damage down. Unlimited's gone very deep. There is a flash away from him. Exhaust goes on to Kikis. The zap didn't land, and now Nick is going to get involved on this bottom lane. Will they be able to pick up kills? Kikis takes a blast and he has to flash away as well. And now they're going to go towards Forgiven. Nick just got
flashed.
Yeah, he flashed away from that. Nick actually did get stunned up there against the wall and feeling a little bit of pressure from that one. Big fights down in the bottom lane. No kills, but have they got enough presence here for the tower?
They at least want to try and go for it. Super is landing the poke here. cowTard is very low on mana. Forgiven taking a lot of poke as well. Defending for now. And in this last fight here, the traps coming down from Woolite saved the life of Super Ace. Because both cowTard and Unlimited got stuck on him, so they couldn't go in together, they couldn't get the burst, combine the CC. Instead, Unlimited ended up going in way too late and had to flash away, so a bit risky move. But DNL, staying in the bottom lane, really want to get down this tower.
Here comes the teleport though, straight into the brush. Super Ace getting locked up. Wild Growth comes in. YoungBuck, where's the pillar? There it is. It slows down Super Ace. The shield's just about keeping him alive. But Forgiven with a buckshot will finish it off for the second kill for the Wolves.
And this time around, Copenhagen Wolves don't want to give up this tower for free like they did in game 1, sending multiple members down to defend it. YoungBuck now can recall and just run up to his top lane. The wave is coming down towards him. Blue Wolf, however, is going to be gone because there's so many members of Copenhagen Wolves in the bottom lane.
Rolling away, Kikis gets his hands on that one there. Blue buff has respawned as well as a ward. Actually, he's just away from the blue buff, so they don't have the exact timing on that one. Actually, Amazing. He's going to be spotted out here by Kikis, and Babunia is just around the corner. Amazing going to pop his ult, actually dives back towards Babunia. The pillar comes in. Safeguard out though from Babunia.
A lot of early action in this game here. Both junglers trying to set something up. Amazing came in here, did a lot of damage. Mobility to Fleece in, got him away. However, it's very good for Copenhagen Wolves, the fact that Trundle can go even in farm here. Trundle, of course, going into lane is going to be very, very strong. So for them, it's fine. Also 2 assists for YoungBuck, been part of everything. Couldn't actually be much better. This bottom lane tower, though, is still very, very low. And Woolite, he should actually be able to get it with this wave coming. So all the effort they put into the tower should be paying off now for DNL.
And that will go down. If not, Nick and Super Ace are headed that direction. Are they going to go Dragon here? Nocturne's there, Lee Sin's there as well. And I don't think the Wolves are really in a position to defend in this one. That turret is going to go down. Woolite picks up that one. The Dragon already well underway. There's no way that they can stop this. They don't even realize it's going on, I think. And that will be Dragon and a tower for DNL. Brings them right back in gold.
Great rotations, like we saw again from DNL. First of all, Babunia, because the wave is so far away from his tower, could walk down with Kikis, make sure it was a safe dragon for them. And then with the bottom lane tower as well, which they put so much time into. Very good objective goal, very fast. And Copenhagen Wolves got no time on this one. They put down the ward afterwards, so they don't have at least the exact time of the dragon.
Kikis does have that Wriggles Lantern done, and let's not forget that we are on 4.5 here, so 25 stacks and not the 30 it takes to get that one up to the Feral Flare. He'll be well underway in getting that complete. So let's have a look down some of the other items coming in. The AD carry is pretty much identical, just the boots of speed for Woolite, the thing that separates the two.
Very even so far. Let's see if DNL decides to do the same thing they did in game 1, where they just start grouping up in the mid lane now and just stay there. Just push towards the tower again and again. Once this tower is gone, they got all the auto turrets away. cowTard though, with some decent wave clear on Twisted Fate. He's alone for now. Unlimited won't be able to help clearing the wave.
A lot of poke coming onto the back of that tower. Unlimited here. Is he getting itchy fingers? Keep stepping forward. He is going to go for this one. They've got Kazakhs moving in. Trundle is there as well. The cleanse used by Woolite, but the pillar is going to get the slow onto them, and they're surely going to be picking up kills. There's the first one. Super Ace is going to die as well, and the Wolves pick up 2.
So DNL felt very confident just pushing down here, but Copenhagen was already moved around the map, both YoungBuck and Amazing, flanking around them, and Unlimited again the guy to do their engage. Meanwhile though, Babunia actually teleported to the top lane, so he wasn't even near this fight.
Not near the fight, and the Wolves now moving in to that inner turret, because Forgiven has already pushed that wave up, and he's already started off the damage, and they absolutely rip through that, especially with YoungBuck there to fight down on it. That will be turret number 2 for the Wolves. So whilst DNL's rotations and pushes have been quite crisp and effective, the Wolves have just done exactly the same to them there.
They have changed up the way they want to play against DNL and the rotations around the map. Instead of just trying to wave all the time, they actually start the fights. They move multiple members to try and start them. Bottom lane, they send YoungBuck down with teleport, cowTard with his ultimate to stop them from pushing there to get a kill. Meanwhile, here in the mid lane, cowTard was there to try and wave clear. It wasn't enough, so they send in Amazing and YoungBuck to just start a fight. Like, they don't care about DNL pushing the tower, they just want to fight them now. And that's the way they can actually get them away from it.
I have to say, Babunia not having much of an impact on this game so far. We saw in that little fight that he chose to TP into top lane and get back to farming rather than joining with the rest of his team. Not ideal, that's for sure. And this middle turret might not be safe. There's a lot of damage to Unlimited and cowTard. Said it before, between Jinx, Lulu, and Karma, there is so much poke to throw down.
And again, DNL, they're just staying around this tower as soon as the last outer turret. They did the same thing here, and they just want to push it down. Copenhagen was near with multiple members to try and defend, but the tower is very, very low. It just requires a few hits from DNL, and it should go down. For now, though, holding on to the tower. Meanwhile, top lane, both of them just farming away. Same goes for the junglers. Pretty even in fun.
50-50 at this point. That Wriggle's Lantern well on its way to becoming the Feral Flare. Some other items. We could see that coming out, yeah. Going with a Vamp Scepter early here is Kikis. We also see Morella Nomicon, first item for cowTard.
So I like this against, of course, there's only one Summoner heal though from Nick, which is where normally if there's multiple Summoner heals you want to go for Morella Nomicon. But what I like about it is it's a good early spike item because it gives so much AP, it doesn't cost the same amount as an Athene, and also gives 15 more AP than Athene's. So it's very, very good early item, gives early power, gives cooldown reduction, mana regen, everything you actually want on a Twisted Fate. And you can see the healing reduction might actually end up giving an extra kill over to cowTard.
That turret, as we mentioned before, so very low. Look at this, that blue buff spawn. Of course, DNL stole the last one away. Kikis is still hanging around. Is he going to ult in? No, he's just going to watch Amazing. Clear actually wasn't even watching because he was inside of the brush, so didn't even have full vision on that one. Couldn't have even ulted in the first place.
But still, DNL is staying around this mid lane. They haven't moved for like 5 minutes. They're just pushing it down every single time, waiting for something to happen. There's a big wave at the bottom lane. Someone from Copenhagen Wolves need to go and clear it out. Could be the signal for DNL then to just rush in for the tower when someone from Copenhagen Wolves is missing. But before this tower goes down, I don't think DNL is going to move anywhere else, except for maybe the Dragon coming up in about a minute's time.
Babunia and YoungBuck, they shouldn't be killing each other. It's no Jax in this top lane that's just going to jump on you and take away half of your life instantly. And as you rightly predicted, it's Forgiven that goes down to that bottom lane. That is a lot of freebie gold for him. Once he buckshots through the pretty much entire wave of minions, and as you also rightly said, DNL stepped forward in the mid lane to try and finish off that tower, which difficult. Yeah, difficult because even when there are minions, one wildcard comes through, pretty much wipes out that wave.
Yeah, same goes the other way though.
True.
Minion comes in, instantly just dies, and Bull, minions, won't have much of an impact, at least in this middle lane. DNL though backing away, don't want to take a chance also with Dragon spawning very soon. If someone had been caught out of position here, they would have died and wouldn't have been able to respawn in time to fight for this Dragon. 15 seconds, both top laners got their teleport, both are in the top lane area. cowTard gonna recall now, got his ultimate of course, he can join in from far away. Everyone else though, around this area here. If Copenhagen Wolves get the wrong position though, if they move towards the bottom lane and then DNL is standing up here towards the mid lane, then they can quickly rotate in, get the tower, and should actually come back in time for the Dragon. It is started though, Unlimited is nearby to try and stop it. They're coming up on top of your screen here, Unlimited needs to actually be careful.
Oh, they're actually going to land here on towards Link. The chompers do come down now, and there is the ultimate from Nocturne. Actually going to be popped. Where is he going to go? YoungBuck here is going to get into Kikis.
Nice
not quite finishing him up. Woolite though on the top side is all alone, and he falls. Now they're going to lock down Super Ace. That's 2 kills. The stun comes onto Babunia as well. He goes off to the ward. Flashes over. Can they follow? Nope. No one's got flashes to go over there. Only Unlimited. cowTard moving in. Doesn't have his destiny, and rightly so, doesn't have a ghost either to chase through. Either way, the Wolves pick up a couple of kills and they're gonna get the Dragon. Yeah,
a bit of a weird team fight for DNL here. They were very split up. I mean, Kikis went in here, went actually towards, I believe it was Unlimited when he engaged. We're gonna see it here in the replay. Look, Unlimited goes up here, Amazing joins in with him. The ultimate from TF didn't put in yet. Kikis then goes in first, then he has to jump back towards YoungBuck, and he's actually out of the fight. Meanwhile, up here, 3 members from Super Ace is fighting against the 3 members from Copenhagen Wolves. But because Woolite is so much out of position, he's just an easy target. There's no mobility on a Jinx unless he gets a kill on an assist here. So he was an easy target to lock down and get a kill, get an extra kill for Copenhagen Wolves. So way too split up for DNL. They want to stay together so they can kite with both Lulu and Karma. Instead though, split up and nothing actually happened for them, except for maybe this mid turret.
Yep, they're gonna get that. No doubt about that one. All cowTard not able to clear out quick enough to stop that one from happening. So, where does that leave us? 6-0 in kills for the Wolves, 3-3 tied up in turrets, but the gold is at 4,000, the difference in favour of the Copenhagen Wolves. As YoungBuck and Babunia again going at it in that top lane. Actually, Tiamat, double Doran's Blade and a Doran's Shield. This may turn into a dive. In fact, it's definitely looking like it. Forgiven, cowTard and Unlimited all headed up towards that top side. Babunia needs to leave his tower. Kikis actually stood on a ward there, so the Copenhagen Wolves know the position of Denial, but I think they just want this tower. We'll see if they can force them away. Lulu and Jinx are coming in now.
Yeah, everyone is going to be up here. Jinx coming in with Lulu in the end. They're just going to join in for the next wave. Wasn't here for the first one. Didn't actually need them. Still, the Wolves got 50% damage onto the tower here, so they got something from their rotation. It's going to be hard for them now. There are a lot of waves on the side of Denial with both Lulu and Karma and, of course, Nocturne. Too late though, they don't actually go for the wards the minion fast enough. Lulu's very far back because they took a lot of pokes, and Copenhagen Wolves getting some more damage.
Good poke coming back in for the Wolves, and Denial starting to step back. And they can come back in now though because the wave has been cleared out. And this is again just going to be that tug of war, which is so far looking good for the Copenhagen Wolves. Those waves not even making it past the turret itself at this stage of things. Trying to get some deeper vision there to keep eyes on Amazing. And if you look at the other 2 lanes, they're both stuck right in the middle as well, which Copenhagen Wolves will probably want to start pushing out, but they do get the tower in the end, and that's all 3 outer turrets going down. Oh, this is bad news for Kikis. In comes the Destiny. What's he going to do about this one? He's actually going to go off there, on towards Unlimited with his ultimate, but he's going to fall here. Amazing now on a killing spree, and he's a good solar flare that will lock to. A kick will knock Amazing back, but they get the kill nonetheless. And now it's Babunia who will safeguard out to the ward, escape, but it's 2 kills plus that tower that go to the Wolves.
And this Twisted Fate pick here is really working for Copenhagen Wolves. Every single time someone is out of position, cowTard can join in, pick up the kill here with Amazing, who was the one who spotted out Kikis out of position. And also in the top lane, because Nick took so much poke and didn't have his flash, we could never go forward to wave clear. So Copenhagen Wolves got it, forced them away, but then rotate, get the mid lane now, Unlimited, very aggressive, that's hard to say.
That just works as well.
It's Danish, don't worry.
He got in there a little bit too deep, but didn't go down, so I'm sure he won't be too unhappy. Always the danger with Leona when you're like, totally going to land this. Like, oh, and he safeguarded it. Perfect timing just to bring me right underneath his tower. Doesn't go down, no problems. 8-0 for the Copenhagen Wolves. big gold lead. 5-3 up in turrets, looking very good from their side of things. Let's have a look down some items. Forgiven just picked up the... Actually, yes, he just picked up. It was before that fight that he got himself that last Whisper on top of his Bloodthirst, and now a Zeal as well. And Morellonomicon from earlier has now been added up with a needlessly large rod for cowTard. He's going to be building up there. We'll see exactly where he goes with that one. And they have just, that was the new addition to power as well. Feral Flare, we should also just know, is done now for Kikis.
That is Feral Flare. Soon the Blade of the Ruined King, and that's where he... That is 2 damage items. Could then from there on go for something like a Random Omen to become tanky, and we saw Cornex again yesterday when Random Omen into Guardian Angel, and he just never died. This time around though, DNL is so far behind, it won't be the same deal. I mean, Kikis, again, he's also so far behind himself, he won't be getting the tanking items in the near future, so whenever he actually goes in, Copenhagen Wolves can just turn around onto him and instantly kill him. It's going to be very hard for DNL here. They're forced to just try and wave clear and extend the game, while Copenhagen Wolves can take full control of the map. Can even force a Baron if they want to, because again, DNL, they just have to farm up and avoid the dive, the potential dive from Copenhagen Wolves.
Kills on the board either for DNL, which is always a worrying sign when you don't have any kills across the entire team. Unlimited actually has 2 kills for the Copenhagen Wolves in there, didn't actually notice that until now. 2-0 for him.
And not only are you behind in gold, your comp as well going into late game, you need these, you need your Jinx, you need your Nocturne to be able to do a lot of damage, otherwise you simply don't have enough damage, and when you're so far behind, there's nothing. Look at Woolite here. 0-2, I mean, doesn't even have his Phantom Lance yet. He's so far behind compared to Forgiven, so the damage from DNL won't be there.
Full item behind that last Whisper in. We've just seen the Blade of the Ruined Kings making an appearance. 1 for Nocturne, 1 for Trundle. 1 apiece on either side. But now the Copenhagen Wolves are looking for their 6th tower of the game, pushing onto that inner turret in the top lane. The only inner tower that actually remains as cowTard gonna pull out the stone card. Actually doesn't even throw it out there in the end. But they want much poke here going through.
They're simply not able to wave here because none of them feel they can stand in the front before the minions, but they're going in here.
They're gonna go for the fight. Kikis has gone very, very deep on that one. Babunia is gonna fall in the middle. He got the kick on cowTard though, who then flashed straight away from it. Destiny pop to give them the vision. Forgiven's quite far forward, and I'm not sure he wants to be there in the end. Super Haze is also low. He is gonna go down here. Oh. There's a flash from Forgiven, gets him a double kill.
So DNL actually picked up 2 kills in the fight because Copenhagen Wolves decided to dive onto the tower here. Also cowTard managed to die all the way in the back from the last little lance from Nick here. Still, 3 members went down. They are so far behind. They did manage to defend the tower, however. And instead of trying to wave clear, they just went straight in for the fight.
Dragon is up as well here, so they can just rotate straight off to that one. And only the base left alive for DNL. Seen this before, where just the base has left and one team was able to turtle up that game for a good half an hour. Actually, more than that. If you look at the clock, there's only 23 minutes. I think that game was 72
minutes. I believe it was the longest game in the LCS history. Maybe it was the challenger game in NA actually, it was longer. Not too sure, but then the second longest, at least. The longest game here in Europe.
Definitely, by quite the margin as well, I believe. As that Dragon does go over to the Copenhagen Wolves, the second of 3 that have gone down so far. And that leaves them 8,500 gold in the lead overall here above DNL. They've already got those wards down over by Byron as well. Not that they particularly need it, but could use it here to bait out another fight.
Could do it if they don't want to risk going under the tower again, like we saw up here in the last team fight where they were actually tanking the tower through the entire fight. And also cowTard then where Babunia actually flash kicked him back into the team. He got very, very low and died from the last little lane. So gave up some kills. Could maybe make them think a little bit, oh, we're far ahead, but not as far ahead as we want to. So we need to be a little bit scared or a little bit more safe in the fights.
Pushing up and getting full vision control. Actually, there's a red buff up for grabs here. And I was going to say Unlimited's on a ward, but he had YoungBuck right next to him. So this red buff is going to be stolen away. That'll be given to Forgiven. More deeper wards coming in. Always dangerous, this scenario. Actually, I told a lie. That top turret didn't even go down in the fight, did it?
last. Need a few hits.
I've been lying to you all, guys. Sorry for that. Forgiven's just gonna... Wow.
That was manly.
That was very manly. Quick draw towards it. It's like, it's alright, I got this one. Oh wait, no, I've not. Actually, I'm not really doing that much damage to it. They're moving in here. Lee Sin actually sat in the brush, lands a Q onto the minion. Not really the target he wants, and as he comes in, he gets blown to pieces. And that is just not the move that you can afford to make, to be honest. That will surely be this turret. Okay, the minion waves gradually being worked down, but DNL can't stand and fight this one at 5 versus 4. There is now finally all of the turrets outside of the base going down.
And Babunia here is supposed to be the tank, but he got a Tiamat and then he has the Warden's Mail. Like, that's it. He has Ninja Tabbies, that's the tanky items. Warden's Mail and Ninja Tabbies. So once he actually goes in, just dies instantly from Copenhagen Wolves. He needs Kikis to follow him. He needs the ultimate from Nick if he wants to survive this one here. They just weren't in a position to do it, but still, DNL, they're trying to fight, and now they're actually going towards this one.
And Amazing's going to dive straight in there, and this is the death of Kikis, surely. He will be the first one to fall. Woolite actually be pinned down by Amazing on the backside. You're not going to get away from him and Trundle, and that is 2 kills with the Destiny into middle. Super Ace is stunned and taken out by cowTard. A 3-for-0. Great trap set by the Copenhagen Wolves. They go now, and they're going to get themselves the Baron.
And DNL is simply in the position where they don't feel like they can wave clear, they don't feel like they can defend towers, so they're just forced to fight. Same reason they move up for this Baron here. They're like, Copenhagen Wolves, if they're on the Baron, this is our chance. We need to go in, try and win the fight at the Baron, try and steal it, and then get back in the game this way, because they are so far behind. So they're actually doing pretty much the only thing they can do, and just start fights all the time and see if they can win them. They're just so far behind, and Copenhagen Wolves are playing the fights really well.
Get ready for some big items to come in as well. Randuin's Omen for YoungBuck. Last Whisper for Kha'Zix. Face of the Mountain for Leona. 3 big pickups there for them. And Mark we see for Twisted Fate. Zhonya's Hourglass is now added in.
I like that.
On top of that Morellonomicon. Means he can pretty much just Destiny in and be the bait for everything else going in. I mean, if Kikis ults him, he's just going to pop his Zhonya's and his ultimate's gone.
He can pour it into the backline of DNL, stun up Woolite again, no mobility on a Jinx, stun him and then just pop his Zhonya's so he won't be killed by DNL, and then the rest of the team from Wolves can just join in and blow them up. So I like the pickup for him, and also because, again, it's a perfect item when you are so far ahead, and no matter actually which item you had here, you would have enough damage to kill them, so getting some more survivability means it's even harder for DNL to get back in the game and win team fights.
So the Wolves here starting to get the vision control on DNL's bottom side of the jungle. The top side is already blue covered with wards. And Nick getting a little bit out of position there. The rest of the Wolves are moving in. They're going to split this 4-1 as YoungBuck pushes out that top wave. So at some point they're going to have to send someone onto that top side to deal with that one. I don't think Babunia can actually fight him at this point, though.
We need to see the perfect ultimate from Babunia. Here we go!
He's going to kick cowTard right into the middle, but there is the Zhonya's used. He may still go down, though. The Zap will land. Super Mega Death Rocky comes through. cowTard actually staying alive. Woolite flashes in, get excited, and the Wild Growth won't be enough to keep him alive. Now YoungBuck's in the base. Amazing going through as well. Blade of the Ruin King was used onto Lee Sin. It's not really going to matter in the end, though. They don't manage to take him down, but 3 men are dead, and that means the inhibitor, as he teleport from Babunia, definitely needed to do that.
Well, again, DNL, they just try and go in for the fight, try to do something, and it was actually a good engage by Babunia, but then the Hourglass from cowTard really paid off. He could kick back, instant Hourglass, wouldn't go down, or took a long time before he died. But DNL just trying to do what they can, and they know we won't be able to defend towers. We just need a perfect fight. The idea here was they was gonna kill someone before YoungBuck could teleport down. Just didn't happen due to the Hourglass.
To bring back the deficit in kills, they need 3 aces.
They need some perfect team fights, man.
Without the Copenhagen Wolves getting anything. And there's more items coming in as well now for the Wolves. Void Staff for cowTard. That was there just before that fight, I believe. Infinity Edge for Forgiven. Randuin's Omen for Leona. Spectre's Cowl on YoungBuck as well. The difference in items, I mean, look at the gold difference.
The disrespect from Amazing.
It's just dancing with wolves. No?
No.
Okay. We'll get rid of that one for next time. 6 seconds until Dragon comes up, by the way. It's a freebie for the Wolves if they even want to bother with that one. They're going to go about this systematically. up towards this top lane. Of course, the only place where Inhibitor Turret and Inhibitor are still standing. As they do that, take away everything from the Denial jungle as they progress. Denial actually doing the smart thing here and sending 2 people fairly early down that wave to push it out as quickly as possible. But they're going to have to move here pretty quickly as well because the Wolves are already on the steps of the base with another wave coming in.
Time to shine for Babunia here. Needs to land a perfect kick onto someone like Forgiven and just instantly blow him up before anything else happened in this fight. cowTard Wolves are so far, they can actually just dive if they want to, or they can just focus on poking the tower. The super minions are coming in here. They will take down the Nexus tower very, very fast. Some of them Denial needs to go back, or they just need to start a fight and hope for the best.
Super minions are actually, or super minion I should really say, is having to go at the Nexus turrets. There's a second one now joining in. That's something that they're going to have to think about clearing here in a moment. They're going to lose this turret either way. Not really being able to put up much of a fight for that one. There is a solar flare going in. Woolite's the focus. Woolite's down. Unlimited on a killing spree now at 3-0-12. They're going to turn straight in for those Nexus turrets with a bunch of super minions there already. Both Nexus turrets go down. The Nexus itself follows. The Copenhagen Wolves pick up game number 3 and move to match point. LCS Summer split point here. Yep. One more from the next 2 will seal their spot. Second very strong performance by Copenhagen Wolves in a row. Last game was the same thing. They dominated the game. The only thing here again, the team fights are very strong for them, and they managed to respond to the early push here from Denial. The same thing they did in game 1, which worked for them. Now the Copenhagen Wolves respond to it well, make sure they don't lose all these towers too fast, or at least they pick up some kills in exchange. Looking very much down here. Oh, Denial, that's not a good sign for them. Certainly need to pick themselves back up and find that game 1 that they did impressively. They were very impressive in game number 1. They did some great map movement in this game as well, but the Copenhagen Wolves, when it came to those team fights, they had the edge on them. The Twisted Fate pick was very smart because it helped them move around whenever Denial was putting multiple members in one lane early to push it down. Then cowTard could teleport down and help defend it. And also the teleport coming in from YoungBuck rather early on to defend the bottom lane tower, because it was all about delaying these towers going down as long as possible, and then just pick up some kills every single time, so they got ahead even though they would lose the tower here, and could then take a dragon in response, or could take a tower by themselves for Copenhagen Wolves, and it worked for them. So they really adapted to the level 1 or the game 1 tactic from Denial and shut it down here. I have to just look quickly through the scoreboard at some of those scores. Trundle for YoungBuck again was a pretty flawless Trundle performance. 1-1-12 by the end. Amazing again on Kha'Zix. 5-0-11. Graves for Forgiven. His best game so far with Graves, I think we can safely say. 7-0-6. I mean, even Unlimited went deep a couple of times there again, but if you're that far ahead and if you've got 3-0-12, you can also afford to go a little bit deep. He's got a Randuin's Omen there by the end. Got very, very tanky, and in general, again, looking at the game, the laning phase for Copenhagen Wolves been solid now. Denial are not able to win 1v1 or 2v2 in the laning phase, so that's why they do these rotations, which are very, very smart of them, because they get these towers down, they get the objective gold. But then whenever they get to team fights, and now when Copenhagen Wolves are not picking this full late game comp where they weren't allowed to do any mistakes like they did in game 1, they're just looking stronger in the fights, at least for now. I mean, we had the Dragon fight where it was very split up by Denial, and all of a sudden Woolite was over on this side, Kikis was over on this side of the map, and it just ended up giving up kills and a Dragon to Copenhagen Wolves because they were so split up. So, in general, as long as Copenhagen Wolves can respond to the map movements from Denial, they are looking at the moment like the stronger team. Yeah, I think these last 2 games is the Copenhagen Wolves that everyone expected to see right from the very get-go. I think that's why we've seen so many high percentage Wolves votes. The initial one, of course, after game number 1, it was a little bit different, swung all the way over to Denial, but came thoroughly back at 69% in that one. Either way, it's 2-1 now and looking good for the Wolves. Quick thing to note, Medium Makers against Copenhagen Wolves in the relegation last time, Medium Makers won the first game, and then Copenhagen Wolves just adapted the tactic and won 3 games in a row. Looking to do the same here. 2-1 up, and 1 more will seal their spot in the summer split. But for now, we're going to send things over to Shock's Quick Shot and XPK.
Thank you very much, Joe. Indeed, Copenhagen Wolves seem to be on a roll here, looking very confident in that game 3. Peke, what do you make of the team comp of Denial coming into this one? They had to react, but then they came out with a team comp that was lacking some kill potential.
Yeah, pretty much they lack a lot of CC, I think, in team fights. They had good protection, they could go in, survive for a long time, but the other team could just keep kiting them and run back. Their support has no CC, he has seals. Mid has no CC, he has seal. No one really had any CC except either Insec on Listen Insec or Nocturne Fear. That's all they really had to engage a fight, and that's not really reliable. So I think they were lacking some real CC.
I also feel like the champions that Denial locked in, they needed to be ahead early. They needed to get ahead in the laning phase. Lee Sin, if he gets some kills early and starts to build a lead in his top lane, is a monster. Nobody can deal with him. If a Nocturne gets farmed and gets a Blade of the Rune King and that Feral Flare, he can kill people. But they fell behind early. Copenhagen Wolves just had their number. They got early kills, got early towers, and the composition Denial put together, they needed to be ahead in order to win that game, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Copenhagen Wolves, once they got ahead, they obviously had that Twisted Fate, which was so central. They could kite around the map so easily. Whenever they saw someone, they could just go for it and kill them. We actually have a replay demonstrating that cowTard on TF. We can pull that up on the screen.
So before we start the replay, I just want to mention that cowTard on TF has had hit and miss games. I know we were talking about their matchup against Gambit, where it was uninspiring. I think I'm going to use that word. Let's roll this replay out. And Pekka, I want you to talk to me about like the positioning of cowTard. He comes in on Nocturne, and then Vision's denied. How annoying is that?
Yeah, that's really annoying, especially when they enter a brush, you don't see them at all. So, but they still get him, and like they are so ahead at this point, and they have so much damage that they can just chase them. Like, there's no way the other team can turn on them with no turrets close to them. So
I've got a question about the Twisted Fate. I was talking about earlier today about how TF is coming back into the meta, so to speak, because of split pushing, because Exhaust is now strong, you can run him. Ghost and Flash is really good. What else makes Twisted Fate a good pick now on 4.5 and 4.6?
Well, pretty much like you said, the Exhaust, make him have an easy lane. Before, the troubles he had is that he cannot one-on-one assassins, really, until some point, or less he's ahead. But now with Exhaust, you don't need to one-on-one, then you just farm, split push. If they go all in on you, you exhaust them, you just stun them, and you even win the trade. So you are really safe. Your lane is going to be good, you're going to be farm, and when it comes to split push, he's going to be the best since you have your ultimate. If someone goes for you, you back a bit, group with your team to mid, take the turret, something like that, and you can just slowly win the game and snowball like they did with him.
What do you make of the summoner spells? This time it was Flash and Heal. We saw a lot of times that it was a Flash and a Ghost. Of course, if you can get on someone, you will kill him. What would you prefer to play with? Obviously, also that attack speed on the Heal.
Ghost will have been good, but they have so much speed with Lulu and Karma that it wouldn't really matter. If they seal themselves and run away, you're not going to catch them only with Ghost, so you need the Flash anyways. And yeah, they didn't need Exhaust because they had no real assassin, only Nocturne, and they had a good setup to lock him already with Trundle stopping the rest of the team and then gold cards and just not letting him go in.
As an aside, while it's not the same movement speed as Ghost, Heal does give you that 2 seconds of plus 30%.
Yeah,
so it's like a mini Ghost anyway. So if you want to use it offensively, defensively, you have that tool in your back pocket.
You can take it all. One other pick that I wanted to talk about is the Graves pick. We've seen him in 7 out of 11 games here already, 7 times picked. And it has worked out very well for the people we've seen playing. Forgiven doing very well. Why do you guys think it is that Graves is back, and how?
So I know I've spoken to a couple of the North American AD carries, a few of the guys here in Europe. And first of all, we know it's Forgiven's favorite champion. He loves Graves. Secondly, with the number of bruises that are being played that dive in your face and build damage, Graves' passive gives him bonus armor and magic resist. He's got an attack speed steroid on his E that gets lower cooldown when he auto attacks. So he gets free stats. And he's a bit more of a brawler. You kind of want to get in people's faces and you can survive a bit longer, especially if you put somebody with a shield with him. All of that bonus armor and MR scales with the shield that's placed on him. So I know the North American guys in particular were very outspoken in saying, right, he's a brawler, he's a bit buffer, he's like the toughest AD carry, and that's why we're seeing him picked up, and it kind of works.
Yeah, he does work. He's, especially now, people...
Will Reckless play him?
What?
Will Reckless play him?
Maybe yes, maybe not. I still think he's not like top tier. Lucian for sure is. I like Twitch a lot, even though he's not so mobile is the only problem he has. But Graves is kind of like a bit of a worse Lucian, no? He has a lot of burst, a lot of damage. The problem is his range is lower, and his dash is really doesn't remove the slow. So if they slow you or something, they can still catch you. But I think he has a lot of damage, and you will see it a lot more. I don't think Reckless will play that much because I prefer other champions, and I think he does as well. And anyone in the team doesn't really like that short-range champion that cannot siege that well. If you are equal or you're behind and you want to try to take turrets, it becomes really hard to push with such a low-range champion.
So guys, if we look at the series so far, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer for Denial, but they have fought back even when they were behind, and it just hasn't seemed to work out. Trevor, they were talking about maybe going for special picks. We haven't seen anything yet. Is that maybe their saving grace?
So I feel like I got a bit of pie on my face because the end of game 2, I said they didn't need to change their picks and bans. It was gameplay. They completely changed their picks and bans, and then they had bad gameplay. So I think they need to go back to game 1, go back to that sort of standard type of picks that we've seen from them, and play their game. Games 2 and games 3, Copenhagen Wolves set the pace, set the tempo. Denial needs to interrupt that.
Okay, any advice for Denial?
Yeah, exactly the same. I didn't really like like I said, the setup the last game. They were, I don't know, their setup was only about being ahead. At the moment they are equal or behind, their setup is not good. TF can just move around, do whatever he wants, and they were so ahead that they couldn't do anything. Even the first fight, they were not ahead, but you could see they could not finish people. They will get on them, put them low, they will just kite them a bit, then go again in and beat them. And I think they just need to make setups that make a little bit more sense. Exactly what Copenhagen Wolves failed the first game at, and they did really good the other games. They have to do that if they want to win Denial now.
Some adaptation needed going into game 4. As for us, it is time to step off the rift for just a moment, but we'll return with game 4 between the Copenhagen Wolves and Denial. Grab a snack and we'll see you back here in 3.5.
Get her. Noction was... Nice! Good job. Get in, nice. Karma. Super, no flash, no flash.
Yes! Nice!
I got my ultimate.
I'm coming to help.
Karma.
I can heal if I get close. I don't
have stun, Finish. Nice, guys, nice.
Good job, guys. Good job. Let's do it. One more. Vamos a la playa.